Today, let's talk budgeting personal finance with 3 key numbers to track in 2025. These being expenses, savings rate, as well as your net worth. We find if you're able to track these 3 numbers and make little adjustments or improvements throughout the year, you're only going to better off your personal financial situation and come that much closer to financial freedom. Let's get to the experts.
Today's episode is brought to you by Security Financial Management.
Welcome back to Best Advice Podcast, guys. I'm your host, Rob Lovaglio, here as always with Dave Allen and Mitchell Walk. Gentlemen, what's cracking this morning, gentlemen?
You're cracking, Rob.
The cat's pajamas, man. You're the bee's knees.
We're just getting ready. We've got some great information today.
We got some good stuff today. We like to start each episode with a powerful practice of positive thinking. We like to call this, give me something good.
Hey, give me something good.
Shout out Stuart Silverman. He said, you don't have to look like you win. You won. You just have to win.
That's good.
Yeah. So you don't have to be wearing the Rolex. You don't have to be wearing the nicest shoes, the best car. But as long as you don't have to look like you're winning to win, if that makes sense.
Oh, he's good.
I've always said my favorite people in the world are the most humble, that they do not act like the money doesn't define them.
You look
money
at some of our wealthiest clients is they're not.
You'd never know it.
You never know it. Yeah.
Nope, they don't drive the biggest, fanciest car. They don't live in the biggest, fanciest house. They live in nice homes.
Yeah.
And they also, first word out of their mouth is not their net worth.
Never.
And one of course, the best-selling books was The Millionaire Next Door.
Yeah.
You didn't even know they were a millionaire.
Yeah, that's great.
I think it was Malcolm Gladwell many years ago.
Good memory.
That was a good one, yeah. Kind of boring to read, but I read it.
But
and
they're
I was
out
like,
there.
Yeah, I went night during it. It was it's a pretty sleepy book, but it is real.
Let's get to the question of the day. Today's question comes from Logan from Jacksonville. Logan, what you got for us?
You want to say something?
All right, Logan says, my family's 2025 goal is to get hold of my budget to invest the wasted money not accounted for. Being experts in personal finance, do you have any advice on how to track your budget?
Thank you, Logan. Gentlemen, who wants to start this off? Let's go budget.
I'll start us off. You know, as Rob said, the 3 numbers. And budgeting is quite simple, but why do so many people have so much trouble with it, right? You know, you got to control your expenses, your fixed and your discretionary. We'll discuss both of those. Then you have to, then you've got the savings. And people tend to find it very difficult to save. And then third number, your net worth. So expenses, your savings and investments, and your net worth. So I'll start with expenses, which is probably one of the biggest problems that people have is controlling expenses. Some of our wealthiest clients never really made a ton of money. They just controlled their expenses. I mean, maybe not the wealthiest ones, but have a very comfortable retirement because they lived within their means. So what does that mean? You got your fixed expenses and you got your discretionary expenses. Your fixed expenses, rule of thumb is probably a good number, is 50% of what you make. If you're making a decent salary, don't exceed 50%. That's your housing, your rent or your mortgage, your electric bill, your food, not your groceries. That's your grocery bill, not your heading out to Hillstones or one of the fancy restaurants. That's discretionary.
Get a $50 steak.
Yeah, well, 50.
Yeah.
It's 100 if you go to that Christner's place. Yeah. Sorry, Christner's.
I don't make it there yet.
It's a darn good steak, though.
It's good.
But anyway, insurance, the necessities of life. And also, necessities of life is also, that could also be discretionary. You could elect to live in a bigger house, and maybe that big house and that big mortgage that's a discretionary thing too. What do you really need? What do you want? Where do you belong? So try to keep that number at 50%. Mitch, what do you think about discretionary?
Well, discretionary, that is the key, Dave, to what you were talking about, because you've got your fixed expenses, and then there's discretionary, and then there's your savings. So discretionary, people, there's a lot of waste in discretionary expenses. A lot of people say, to your point, have trouble saving. But discretionary, for example, they're out there every day on their way to work getting that $6 cup of Starbucks coffee. Is it up to 7 now? I don't drink
Might
coffee,
be up
but
to 8
7
now, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, if you do it 5 days a week, $30-$40 a week, it's about $1,500 a year just on a cup of coffee on your drive into work. So that's
Cigarettes.
an issue. People
That's
on
getting less and
cigarettes.
less these days, but that's still a big
It's
one.
still a big one at $8, $9, $10 a pack
What?
in New York.
It's probably more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Heck, I don't know anymore.
The vaping is the big thing now in my age group, and that's
Oh, man.
more expensive than that.
Yeah,
It's all plastic.
Man, those are naughty.
Responsible, so bad. They're,
God.
they're candy. It's like cotton candy. It's like for 30-year-olds, and it's such.
I know.
The
God, I hate to
marketing's so bad.
God, I hate to see that.
But that's a lot of discretionary expenses.
They kind of sneak it off to the side,
Yeah.
they
On the
tuck it
side.
in, then they go.
Oh, it's so addicting.
We also, at grocery stores, they're notorious for this. They put their most expensive, or their most profitable items at the cash register. You're waiting in line, and it's called an impulse buy. It's all discretionary, impulse, gum, magazines. You see the headlines, whatever. Harry was suing somebody this week, whatever. But people are going to, that's only $6, and they'll buy the magazine. Impulse buying. But here's one that's really important or happening right now as we speak. People like to go on diets and lose weight for their New Year's resolution, and here we are, January, end of January. Biggest month for gym memberships. However, did you know 67%, according to B-Fit training studios and clubs at River City, 67% of people get a gym membership and never use it. And they continue to pay it every
67.
single month. They're paying for
'Cause they
a
think
gym
they're gonna use
membership and never, ever go in. And then of
We
the
should start
remaining...
gyms, is what I'm saying. Like,
We
let's
should
just
start gyms.
67% just pay me for nothing.
Sounds easy, but have you noticed how many gyms go out of business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then out of the remaining 33%, 18% use it once a week. So really, 67% never use it. So that's a complete waste of your discretionary money. And the 18% go once a week. Well, I guess you're doing a little exercise. But you need to look at that.
It's the streaming services, all of those,
Well,
forget about them,
Yeah, 'cause
right?
you
Glad
got-
you brought that up because I've got some numbers on that too, Dave.
Okay, Mitch.
Streaming
Do tell, Mitch.
services.
Do
That's
tell.
right. The average person has 3.6 streaming services.
Mitch is the color man, by the way.
Color man with the
Color it up.
stats. 3.6. I don't know who those 0.6 tenths are, but 3.6
I think you made it up.
services. No, this is actually according to lendingtree.com, June 2024, just 6-7 months ago.
Okay, I believe that then.
That's a good stat. But 25% of the people that have streaming services, which is about 88%, do not use one of them. So 25% of the overall population, 3.6, they're paying for 3.6 on average, and they don't use one.
Okay, we get the idea, Mitch.
No, but wait, this is more important. As you go up to the Gen Zs.
Hold on, I'm about to go to sleep again.
No, the Gen Zs want to hear this because they're going to save money on their discretionary
Gen
expenses.
Z's what age, Mitch?
I think that's my age.
That's Rob's age.
Yeah.
42% of Gen Zs have a streaming service they pay for and don't use.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Or you do it just because there's a cool show on,
Yeah.
and then you don't. The show's done, but
It's
you keep
done,
paying it.
and you keep paying it. You never shut it off.
Yeah. One of the things that's probably the most important is people tend to use their credit card like it's free money. I'll pay that off later. And guess what? You don't. You just extend it. You extend it. And those credit card interest rates, look and see what you're paying. And if you're even late, that thing goes up in the 20s. So when you're using your credit card, use it like it's like you're paying cash. It's just convenient because I'll tell you, these days a lot of people don't take cash anymore. I mean, our little restaurant in the back of our building here, it says we are cashless. They do not accept cash.
Really? Right here?
Right here. They don't
card
accept
only.
cash. Credit card only. So,
I only take Bitcoin.
well, that's next.
Wise guy's always right. Even when he's wrong, he's right.
No, but keep your credit card in check by thinking every purchase, I'm going to pay it off every month. Or if it's like a big purchase, okay, I'm paying it off for 2 months. But it's not a long-term buy, and a lot of people abuse that, and that gets a lot of people in a lot of trouble. Pay it off.
And at that interest rate, they almost can never pay it off.
No. If it gets
too
big
high.
enough, it's too high. Yeah. Let's see. What do you think about on expenses and salaries and things like that? One of the biggest things people do is when they get a pay raise, treat it like you're not changing your lifestyle. You're keeping your fixed cost expense, your discretionary stays the same. And guess what? You got more money to save and move into your investments. So let's talk about the investment side. So making extra money, don't increase your lifestyle. Reward yourself because you earn that. I mean, because life is short. You got to enjoy it, but don't abuse it. Don't take all that money and spend it. Now funnel it into your investment
savings
portfolio.
and investments.
Increase your 401k contribution.
Well, that's what they need to do because if you don't do that, when you retire, it's not going to be a good situation.
No, it's not fun.
And it's going to take a lot more.
It's not
money.
good to be a broke old guy.
No, it's not. It's
not good.
I look at it as it's like going on a 2-week vacation and running out of money after the first week. Not a lot of fun.
You don't want your vacation to be where you're just going to go stay at relatives' house because you can't afford a hotel.
Right.
That's
savings is very important.
Yeah, you want to be able to save.
Right.
So what's the rule of thumb on saving, Mitch?
Well, it's 50, 30, 20. 50% on your needs, 30% on your wants, and 20% on your savings. That's the rule of thumb on that.
You know, my wife always says there's a fine line between need and want.
Yeah.
It always tends to be the needs.
Many people's wants or their needs.
Right.
But you need to. That's a confusing one. The need versus want. You know,
we want more money.
Somebody says, "I really need that." Well, do you need that
No, they
G-Wagon?
They usually want it. They want it. And again, if you're not saving close to that 20%, you might want to cut your wants down a little.
Yes.
Even if you cut it by 5%, throw the 5% into savings and get your wants to 25%.
So we could beat it up all day long. That 20% could be in your 401k.
Yep.
You get a pay raise, just up your 401k percentage. It could be if you've reached your max on your 401k contributions, contribute to a Roth if you can. Or if you can't contribute to a Roth, just go into your non-IRA account and just start putting that extra money away, and you won't regret it. You won't regret it. And the net worth, that's the third number. That's predominantly just the reward. You know, when we do a financial plan for somebody, we work off their net worth, and that's the number that's going to allow you to retire.
Right. That is it. That's the number that we have to come up with.
That's what we're working for.
You know, you try 4%,
That's the goal.
5%, and you take that versus what you have to retire and add some Social Security, and that's going to be the reality check for you.
That is the reality check.
That is a reality check.
So if you're saving and saving and saving and your net worth's not growing, you're doing something wrong.
Right. And it's not going to be a good retirement.
Right. And it's what you're saving into. It's not just stick it in your savings account at the bank. It's go into you got your different buckets of money. You got your emergency savings. You got your middle of the road next that maybe 5 years down the road and buying a new car, saving for this, don't want it to be too aggressive. And then you got your long-term stuff like your 401k, retirement plans, IRAs, long-term non-qualified money.
Right. And that's what people have to look at. So it is really simple to follow these rules of your fixed expenses, discretionary expenses, your net worth, and your savings.
As simple as it is, most people don't do it.
Yeah.
Correct.
And because it's too basic. Life doesn't have to be complex. It's very basic. Live within your means. So in summary, we'll shorten it down here, is be intentional and aware of your expenses and review them often. Treat savings like a monthly bill. Absolutely. Treat it like a bill. And it's like if you don't pay it, your electric goes off. You know, it's a bill. If you don't pay it, your retirement suffers. Use your credit card like it's cash. Pay it off monthly. And lastly, live within your means or live below your means. That's it. So there's a famous quote. I've heard it a number of times, but what is it? Live like nobody else will today, so you can live like nobody else can in the future.
This is brilliant.
I've heard it from white people. Yeah. I've heard it from a number of different people. But it's such a true statement.
Yeah.
Live like, suffer a little bit. We don't like to suffer. People especially these young generation, they want everything now.
Yeah.
I wanted everything now.
Yeah.
But I think they want it more now than they used to. But don't do everything you want to do. Do some, reward yourself, but back up a little bit. And then save, and then down the road you will not regret it.
You will not regret it. You will have your nice retirement at the end.
That's the goal.
Beautiful. Hope that helps, Logan. Getting started is the hardest part, and obviously if you want to talk to either one of our partners here, I'm going to leave a link in the description for you. Remember, folks, the secret to wealth is not what you earn, it's what you keep. Happy days, everybody.
This podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only and is not intended as personal financial advice. Before making any financial decision, please do your own research and consult a financial advisor as